Hi YouTube, I'm Ali. Welcome to the channel. One of the big drives in creating this channel was to have a way of sharing my experiences as I reconnected with some of the hobbies I had as a teenager. Included in that journey was a desire to take one of the 1001 board and card game ideas I've had over the years and turn it into a fully fledged real-life functioning game. While I will continue to do other things on this channel, this episode marks the beginning of me doing just that, choosing an idea, expanding on it, refining it, and then pushing it along that development path into hopefully a fully fledged game. However this ends, you can bet your bottom dollar that I'll be sharing everything I learn right here on this channel, and it all starts with this episode, right after the bit where I passively aggressively ask you to subscribe. As with everything on this channel, this epic metaphorical journey into designing a game starts with questions. So many questions. What does a good game idea look like? Should I be starting with a theme in mind? Or are the mechanics of how you play or do various gamey things, are they more important? Is my idea original or has it already been used in a game somewhere that I'm unaware of? When do I start sharing and testing my ideas? And once I've developed something that I think is worth playing, do I go through the route of self-publishing, or will it be snapped up by a major publisher and make me the millions that I deserve, damn it? If you know my channel, then you know that I like following methodical steps in everything I do new, or everything I try to reconnect with. In fact, pretty much everything I do. I really want to do the same thing here if I can. I'm pressed on time, so imagine a long montage of me trawling through hours of YouTube, Google, search forums, questions, magazines, film documentaries, etc, etc. Basically, I did a lot of research before making this. High on the list of really useful game designers anyone should be aware of if they want to design a game is Jamie Stegmaier. He's got a great guide absolutely full of useful information that of course I've linked in the description below, but more importantly that I've studiously worked my way through. Jamie talks a lot about the importance of being in and around games if you want to design your own. Playing them, listening to people talking about playing them, watching people talking about listening to people playing them. Oh, and testing them. Testing them is very important, he says. Testing people's games, listening to people talk about testing other people's games, etc. Look, all of these things are encouraged. And actually, amazingly, that's really, really useful advice. It helps me, or it's helped me at least, get those creative juices flowing, but it also has helped me check whether my own ideas have got any real potential, whether they're real, whether they're original and tangible. In other words, that describe ideas that don't really mean anything. Let's ignore that bit. Being in and around games is really useful for inspiration, but it doesn't really give me those basic building blocks I want for my process. Remember, I want a step-by-step recipe. So I know what to do for inspiration: read a lot, watch a lot, get involved, test other people's games, play games. At this point, I'm going to ask you to imagine yet another montage of me doing more research and more hours spent trawling through YouTube and magazines and all kinds of things, just to find out the following bits. Thankfully, watching Going Cardboard, great movie, heartily recommend it, and trawling through various game design forums on both Reddit and Board Game Geek, and reading lots of old interviews has helped me find some of those building blocks. And in fact, it does seem that the process is pretty straightforward. You come up with an idea, you make a prototype, you test, you refine, and then you do that a bunch of times until finally you decide you're ready and then you go publish. Right? Well, actually, essentially, yes, that is it. That's exactly it. Truly, from the hours and hours of research I've done on this, that is pretty much the key stages of getting a game out. The bit that hurts is how long and involved each of those stages can be. So I have a basic workflow. Huzzah! But this doesn't tell me exactly how to start. Remember, I'm looking for that step-by-step process, right? How do game designers get their original initial idea into something that could become a viable game? Well, that's where these guys come in. Each of the fantastic individuals here have either designed a game and successfully published it, or are in the process of doing so. More relevant to this episode is that these wonderful people took the time out to be interviewed by me on the subject of board game design ideas. My mission was to speak to each one of them and to see if there was a pattern in their thinking that I could zone in on and adopt as for my own nefarious uses. Actually, uses weren't that nefarious. I've already explained what I'm going to do with them. Anyway, ultimately, these guys would be helping me put the meat around the bones of my basic process. Now, when I started planning for my interviews, I thought I would ask similar questions and probably get back similar answers. And for some of the questions I did, that's exactly what happened. But often we would start moving the conversation into uncharted territory. And as the answers revealed themselves, it began to make me rethink some of my approaches. And so I asked differing questions. What I'm saying here is that the questions aren't all consistent, but a lot of the ideas coming through were, and that was the important bit. Over the next few episodes, I'm going to be sharing edited highlights of my interviews, but then constantly interrupting those interviews with annoying and excited voiceovers. Like this. There we go, like that. Whenever I discover something new that I can add to my approach. Now, this means that by the end of those interviews, I should have enough of a process to be able to apply back to my own game ideas and start evaluating them for development. Well, that's the plan. For now, though, I'm going to stop here on my journey and build a base camp, start a fire, and cook beans over that fire. I'm going way too deep in this metaphor, sorry. Look, for now, I'm going to take a pause. The next episode will be my first ever interview, and I really hope that you can make time to see it, because it's packed full of really useful information, especially if you want to design your own game. And actually, even if you don't want to design your own game, it's awesome to watch. But for now, take care, YouTube. See you in the next episode. Well, that was a lot of words. A lot of words.